Welcome to another episode of Just Cuz, the podcast where two cousins talk about things they love.
Just cuz. And today we are talking about something near and dear to my heart, okay? It's that time of year again, folks. That time when everybody starts talking Harry Potter. And instead of talking about the Harry Potter movies like every other schlock on the internet...
Because what do we even say? It's good, go watch it.
They're good. J.K. Rowling's a TERF. What else do you want? Okay, it's like I'm not inventing the wheel here. But what we can talk about that's different is the Harry Potter musicals. Are they 12 years old? Yes. Does that matter? Absolutely not. Okay, today we're going to be talking about all three Harry Potter musicals. Now, if you don't know what that is, as Max did not know, until I forced him to watch these. The Harry Potter musical is a fan-made musical. I'm fairly certain it's from 2011. And it was...
sometime around then.
Yes. It was created by some students from the University of Michigan theater department who really loved Harry Potter and decided to make a spoof musical of it. And... this spoof musical, one of those students was Darren Criss. If any of you know who that is, Blaine from Glee, and from lots and lots of other things, okay? Darren Criss.
I had no idea.
You had no idea?
Yeah,
What?
I also I haven't seen
Did you
Glee,
never
so...
see the Versace show?
No.
Oh.
I have
He
not.
plays a real good serial killer. He also played Hedwig on Broadway, which I went to see live with my mom. That was so fun.
Okay. I should give you the bad news.
What?
I didn't love this.
You hate them? Oh.
No, I didn't hate it. Okay, I should say, on paper, a lot of this is really, really good. It's just, like you said, it's from the early 2010s. It wasn't filmed superbly,
No.
and the audio kind of suffers.
Yeah.
There is a remaster of the first one.
And the second one.
But I didn't watch the remaster of the second one. But I mean, either way, the audio, I'm sure the voices are fantastic, but it doesn't really hold up that fact.
No, definitely not.
Some of the jokes don't age too well. I think a lot of the characterization is fantastic except for Dumbledore. And honestly, it's a lot of, and I say this without meaning it negative in any way, but it's a lot of theater kid energy.
Yes, that's why I love it. That's what speaks to me on a primal level, okay? I am a theater kid at heart. Always have been, always will be, not ashamed, okay? I totally get not liking it, and I was fully prepared for you not to like it.
It's also not for me.
Yeah.
So that's
The
understandable.
thing about it is for theater kids. It is for people who love Harry Potter, which you do. You love Harry Potter, and this is why I thought you should watch it. But it also is so interesting in the way that it tells its story and speaks to fandom.
Right.
Which we're going to get into. But...
that's why, like, looking over all of the notes that I've taken and thinking about the whole story itself, I'm like, no, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
I think in execution, I didn't love it. But those are the big negatives, and I got them out of the way, because there is plenty of good stuff to talk about with these three musicals.
The thing about, like, the jokes that don't age, like, for me, obviously... I watched these when they came out. So for me, those jokes are nostalgia. Those jokes are fun. I like them. But there isn't really things that are offensive. There's just like references that haven't aged them.
Some Asian jokes aren't
Oh, no,
fantastic in
no.
the first one.
No, oh, they're... Okay, hold on. Before we get into that, just give me 1 second. First of all, I have to map this out. So... the Harry Potter musical started with the first one. And they kind of, the appeal of it was they kind of mushed all the Harry Potter books together into one. And they picked out the most important bits and they dropped everything else. And they said, we're going to tell the story of Voldemort coming back and Harry defeating Voldemort. And we're going to do it all in this play. And we're going to get rid of everything else.
And I'll jump in later because I got plenty of thoughts about that, but you go.
And then they realized they wanted to do a second one. And we'll get into the plot of that. But the second one is a sequel, but also kind of a prequel. And
time travel shenanigans
ensue. And the third one was a reunion of sorts that they did as a staged reading. They all had scripts in their hands doing it, and it was at a convention. And it was once Darren Criss was already very famous, and he was leaving the production company that formed from this first musical, the production company called StarKid. So it's also,
and that's the name of the YouTube channel if you want to watch any of these for free.
It's really an interesting step forward in modern theater that the Harry Potter musical caused. They did it live, and then they recorded it, and they put it on the internet for free, and it blew up. It became this massive, massive thing, and they were like, oh, we can make money off this. We can keep doing this. We can actually make a production company because of this. We
can make many, many more musicals because they got tons.
They have tons of musicals now, and they are a huge production company. They're very famous. I've been to some of their touring shows. They have really good original content. Not all of it is spoofs, but some of it is, and they have really, really fun things. And so I always thought that was such a fantastic show that just launched this whole company. It changed all these people's lives. And they went on and did 3 more, and they're really fun. But also, I'm a geek, and I love Harry Potter, and I love musicals, so I love it. Okay, getting into that, the first Harry Potter musical opens, and it is the iconic song, Gotta Get Back to Hogwarts. If you've ever been on the internet ever, you've probably heard this song.
I hadn't heard any of the songs from this. I think there was one moment that a snake was slithering and saying, I'm a snake. And I was like, I think I've heard Sasha say
I've said that a million times. Every time I see a snake, I say that.
But yeah, all of this was new for me. And the first one started, and I was like, okay, so we're retelling starting from Chamber of Secrets. And then immediately it diverges from that. It's just a sort of retelling. They have the Triwizard Tournament, but it's not that. It's all the 4 houses.
It's the House Cup Tournament. Why would you have a Triwizard Tournament if there are 4 teams? Duh. Okay, I want to get this out of the way really quickly. I already knew this about myself before I recommended this, but I have watched this annually every single year since I first watched them in 2011. And the first one came out. And I have definitely watched it more than that because 12 times honestly sounds too little for me. I've seen these so many times that I can quote the entire thing. Not every line from every song. I watch this, and as it's happening, I speak along with every single characters. I know every single line. I know every single turn. I know where they're facing. I know what dance moves they're doing. I know everything about this. It's kind of ridiculous. But it's so fun for me.
I can imagine that. I can never memorize anything. I can listen to a song a million times and I won't know the words. But I could very much see just memorizing some of these songs. Because I kind of did that with Hamilton, where I just listened to the soundtrack whenever I'm at work or something. But yeah, these had some catchy songs, I won't lie.
The music is well written. There are themes, there are leitmotifs, there's, everything you need in a competent composition. It's really, really fun. What can I say? They're well written musicals. They take the first one decides to take the story, and it says, okay, Harry's in his second year, but they're doing not the Triwizard Tournament, but the House Cup Tournament, and Harry's gonna fight a dragon, and then and there's gonna be Cedric Diggory, and Harry's gonna be in love with Cho Chang. But at the end of the Yule Ball in the Triwizard Tournament, in the House Cup Tournament, Harry and Cedric are gonna get sent to the graveyard, and Voldemort,
and they do it the smart way. They don't make him grab the thing at the end of the Triwizard Tournament. Right. Just make him grab a soup ladle. Just first day, hey, Harry, here's a notebook. Yeah. And make that the portkey.
There's so many easier ways they could do that. They could have been, here's your graded paperback, Harry, and it's a portkey.
Yes. Wait, can you portkey a wand? Wouldn't that make... I just had the biggest tangent in my brain.
Well, they go...
Because that would make someone's wand obsolete. I don't know.
Well, so portkeys in Harry Potter work like a timed delay kind of a thing. They're not always active. Because if you remember from the book, the Goblet of Fire. It's not handled. It's put there. It is made into a portkey by the because there's a portkey department in the Ministry of Magic. So someone from the Ministry of Magic comes and places a portkey in a certain place, and they say the portkey will activate at this time. You have to be touching it by this time, and it will go to this place. And you can asked to make one and shit, but then I don't know how they regulate that, because people can just make their own portkeys. Everyone has a wand. It's really not a good system, but anyway.
What was it last week that I said that Harry Potter magic makes sense?
Yeah, it doesn't. No, absolutely not.
But it's fun. We love Harry Potter.
Yes, it's still fun.
We stan.
But so they're not always active.
But they get Cedric and Harry with a soup ladle. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
No, it's a punch ladle, and it's for punch. And they know that only Harry will touch this ladle because they put squirt in it, and only Harry Potter likes the drink squirt, and everybody else hates it.
Real drink. I kind of miss squirt. That was good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, tell me what you think of the best arc of this whole show, Quirrell and Voldemort, because Quirrell and Voldemort are in this first one.
And they literally sleep together.
What do you mean they literally sleep? Yeah, they're one person.
Well, I was going to say they have this whole dynamic about, Quirrell really cares for him and Voldemort just can't really accept that. And I was like, they have this whole just kind of on the nose love thing, and then I just remembered, no, they have a scene where they just sleep together, so it's not.
What do you mean they just sleep together?
Don't they sleep? They try to go to sleep in the same bed, but because they're connected.
Well, no, that's the first scene that they're in. Because Quirrell's like, I have to sleep on my back, and Voldemort's like, well, my face is on the pillow.
Yeah.
It's very much a love story. They're very much in love.
And Bellatrix isn't really having that.
But not literally sleep together, have sex. Literally sleep together, sleep together.
I read between the lines. They definitely had sex.
How? They were in one body.
Exactly. They were constantly having sex. But yeah,
they sing an
Quirrell was introduced, and he had the biggest humpback, and I was like, okay, I see what they're doing.
It's so funny. They just took they took two guys back to back, and they put a dress over them, and then you put the turban.
It works.
It's the funniest thing in the world. Every time I see it, I laugh my ass off. And then they sing an Odd Couple song, and it's great. Yeah, so
and
Voldemort comes.
Crabbe. I was gonna say Crabbe and/or Goyle is 30 years old, and I love it.
No, that's Goyle. Sorry, that's Goyle. Yeah.
I can't tell the difference between them in the movies, the books, the real life actors. Mm-hmm. It's always just Crabbe and/or Goyle.
It's Goyle is the really, really tall one, and Crabbe is the one who's played by a girl, and Malfoy is also played by a girl.
And Malfoy has some good introductions where she just slides on screen.
Malfoy is like a jelly of a person in this. Malfoy's so funny in these. They I don't even think it's worth going through these chronologically because they don't make sense. I think you just do 1, 2, and 3. But
it's literally, the first one is Goblet of Fire with Quirrell. The second one is Prisoner of Azkaban.
No. The first one is also Deathly Hallows.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the second act is just Deathly Hallows. Mm-hmm. They rush through to the end, and it's just an overall story of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the second one is kind of Prisoner of Azkaban most of all, but it jumps around a bunch.
It's mostly Prisoner of Azkaban, but they're in their first year, and there is much more time travel. There's like also this plot of Lucius Malfoy, not Lucius, Lucius Malfoy and the Death Eaters who've come back in time from after the first one takes place to destroy Harry Potter when he's in his first year. But then, so Malfoy turns good at the end of the first one, and he goes, "I'm really nice
he has a pretty good redemption arc."
Well, you want to know because why? Tell us why, Max.
Because in the movies, or
no,
in the books and movies, he doesn't really have one.
No. In this, he has his redemption arc because he's in love with Hermione.
Yes.
The not the origin of the ship, but definitely something towards the beginning of the ship. It
bolstered it.
Oh, it definitely bolstered it. But you want to know? You want to know the funniest story? How I even heard about a Harry Potter musical in the first place? I was in 6th grade. I was in my choir class in school, and we had Fridays where you could come up during class end. It was like the open mic day. You could sing whatever you want. You prepare something during the week, and then you sing it on Friday. So I had 2 girls from my class come up and do a duet, and they sang Granger Danger, the song where Ron and Malfoy sing about how in love they are with Hermione. And I stood up in class and I said, "Where did you hear that song?" And they told me it was from a Harry Potter play on the internet, and I went home and I immediately watched it, and I became obsessed for the rest of my life.
They said, "It's a Harry Potter play," and you're just like, "Excuse me?"
And I said,
"Say that again."
And I said, "Say that one more time." No. And then I said, "And there's a duet where Ron and Malfoy sing about being in love with Hermione. This sounds like absurdist comedy. I must see now." And it was the best thing ever.
And I mean, Malfoy is just, well, there's a lot more proactive choices in this story. Mainly, like, Voldemort does a lot more. Malfoy is one of the champions for the cup. Cho is too, which I really liked. Like, she's Ginny, and a lot of the female characters are much more than they are in the movies, and I liked that. They're actually able to make decisions.
Well, okay. I don't want to get into this, but Ginny, the adaptation of Ginny in the Harry Potter movies is reprehensible. Okay, before I grew up and got my senses about me and became a Wolfstar girly, my favorite character in Harry Potter was Ginny. My whole childhood, I loved Ginny.
Because she's awesome.
And she was my favorite character in the books. And in the movies, she's a cardboard cutout of a person. One time, so I have this really crazy memory. I told you, like, sometimes I can just, memorize whole scripts of things just by watching it, right? Yeah. Obviously, a lot. But I used to watch the Harry Potter movies a lot. And one time, I was really bored in bed when I was, like, 10 or something, and I decided to go back through my memory and go through every single Harry Potter movie. Or no, it was not 10, it was after they had all come out. And I remember I whatever age I was when they all came out, and I was like, I'm gonna go through every single Harry Potter movie and I'm gonna count how many lines she has. in my head. And I did it successfully. And it was in the 20s or something. It was not a lot of lines. And I was like, there are 8 movies,
kind of sad. 2
of which are based on books where she is a central character. Chamber of Secrets and The Half-Blood Prince. Ginny is a huge character in both of those books. And she had...
And maybe the love interest for the protagonist should have some more screen time.
Maybe she should have some fucking character development. I don't know. God, maybe they should have chemistry. I know that wasn't their fault. Okay, they were both cast as, 11-year-old children. That's not their fault. But, you know.
Yeah.
They should have been given better scripts, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. A lot of what we can say about how, like, Ginny's just much more of a character in the musical, the same can be said for Ron. Because Ron gets screwed in the movies.
Oh, absolutely. Half of Ron's ideas and lines go to Hermione in the movies. And the other half, some of them go to Neville sometimes. So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they also just, like, turn things that Ron does into bad things for no reason. Like, Ron and Harry fight because they're best friends and they're growing up together, and that freaking happens, you know?
Yeah, it's natural.
And they got
it would be weird if it didn't
They got
happen.
a lot of stuff going on, guys. But the movies just turn Ron into a freaking asshole. And there are so many people who, when all the movies were coming out, people were like, how could Hermione end up with Ron? Hermione's so amazing and Ron sucks. And I was like, yeah, you didn't read the books. Because in the books...
That's because you don't know Ron.
In the books, they're both, like, just people. They're not caricatures. Hermione is a person and she has flaws and she's very smart and talented, but she has flaws. In the movies, she does not have flaws. And in the books, Ron is a person. He has flaws, but he also has really, really good things about him. Really good character traits. He is a well of knowledge for them.
I mean, he's the
only one who
he's Hermione's and Harry's introduction into the magical world.
He's the only one who grew up there. He knows lots of things that they don't know.
He's also a bit of a prankster because he grew up with his brothers,
Fred and George.
Fred and George and all of them, which doesn't come across at all in the movies.
But we're getting into talking about Harry Potter, and we're not supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be talking about a Harry Potter musical.
This is a musical episode. Yes. So we sing it. I was about to try, but no, I can't. I can't sing. You don't want to hear that.
You don't want to hear me when I sing.
I get bad when I sing.
The end of the first one. Basically, things that are important. Dumbledore is not actually dead, and he actually goes to the school that Draco has been talking about this whole time, which is an alternative wizarding school to Hogwarts, and it's called Pigfarts, and it's on Mars, and the headmaster is named Rumbleroar, and he's a lion who can talk.
And Dumbledore rides him into space.
Yeah. He puts on a cardboard space suit, and he flies into space, riding on the back of Rumbleroar. And he's not really
Zac Efron is also a Horcrux.
The poster of Zac Efron is a Horcrux. Harry Potter loves Efron more than anything else in the world. This is canon. Zac Efron is really important in these musicals. There's lots of things, you know. Hey, I think it's really funny to look back on these and be like, oh, this was what 2011 was. It was High School Musical and Lost and Wizards of Waverly Place.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I saw the poster of Zac Efron and he had like the Beatles haircut, and I was like, Troy Bolton? Is that you?
That is the picture that was in every freaking magazine. They got that out of a magazine.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't think of too much else to say about the first one.
Well, I'm just gonna wrap up. Sorry, I'm eating.
That's a cardinal sin of podcasting.
I'm so hungry. We're filming this at 11 o'clock at night, and I haven't eaten in like 6 hours, okay?
I've been gorging. I got off work and I started watching the first of the Potter musicals. It's been great.
Yeah.
Microwave dinners. Perfect.
Love that. I'm jealous. I was at work. But so okay. Dumbledore, in Dumbledore's will, he says that Hogwarts goes to Harry Potter, and he says his chocolate factory goes to Charlie and Toontown goes to the Toons, which was funny.
Everyone cheers.
Yeah, everyone cheers. And Voldemort is defeated, but a part of his soul lives on because it lives in Quirrell's heart, and they attach again, and they're in love, and it's great.
And you don't see them for a while, but they'll be back.
Yes, it's important. Oh, and Ron and Hermione get together, and Harry and Ginny get together. Basically, that's what's important at the end of this. Then,
and there's even a note for the next one that there's nowhere for these characters to go.
Exactly.
They reach their end.
So in the next one, Lucius Malfoy and Yaxley and the other Death Eaters go back in time to Harry Potter's first year. And we get some freaking banger songs in this one.
And I should say immediately, I started watching this second one, and I was like, okay, these guys got a little bit of famous. They got a little bit of budget.
Yeah, they have more money. They have sets and costumes and choreography. They had a little choreography in the first one, but not very much.
The first one was clearly an amateur university production. This one is much more professional.
Yeah. And it's very fun. This one I usually say is my favorite out of all three. I love them all for different reasons, but I think this one is my favorite. There's so many good things about it.
I think the same can be said for me, and that's just because I like Prisoner of Azkaban. I can't even say it. Prisoner of Azkaban, the best.
Yeah, it's the best book.
I'm too tired.
It's the best Harry Potter
Prisoner
book.
of Aslan.
Prisoner of Aslan. Oh my gosh, Narnia? Where?
But yeah, I think most Harry Potter fans can agree that Prisoner of Azkaban is one of the best books. So having that adapted.
It's clearly the best story. It has the best characters. It's the most interesting. It's so good. Okay, can't beat it.
It's the one with the werewolf.
It's the book that spawned a whole other sub-fandom in Harry Potter. Like, come on.
The Marauders.
Yeah. How it, like, they get no other stuff in any of the other books except for one scene in one other book where they go into Snape's memory one time. That's it. That's all we get for the rest of these.
And that's the 6th, I think, and you see it for like a split second, if that. Yeah. It sucks. I want to see the full memory like we did in this one. In the musical.
Max, read all the young dudes and you'll see the full memory, okay? Get to reading.
I gotta get to reading.
It's so good, man. It's so good.
From what I've read so far, it is very good.
It's another level. Anyway, okay, so second one. It's Prisoner of Azkaban meets Order of the Phoenix meets I guess Philosopher's Stone. Also, yeah, because there's like the Mirror of Erised and stuff. So
they pull a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and it's their first year. Also,
it's mainly Prisoner of Azkaban with Umbridge.
Also, Rita Skeeter is there a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously they could not have Voldemort in this one because Voldemort comes back to life in the first one. So the actor Joe Walker, love him, who played Voldemort in the first one. He plays Umbridge in this one. And when I tell you I wish I could have seen your reactions to this, I know you didn't like it very much, but I still want to see the reactions to my favorite parts. They're so
I can describe it because Umbridge comes on screen and immediately I'm just like, damn, Umbridge is ripped. And I wasn't even sure if she was going to be a villain. And then she has the second act reveal where she's pulling the strings behind everything. But up until then, I was like, maybe they're doing an alternate version.
Nah. She's played by the actor who plays Voldemort.
I also did not realize that.
Oh, okay.
Now that you pointed that out, I'm like, yeah, same face. Yeah. But I did not pick up on that at all.
It's very so good. She has a monologue in her very first scene that I used to recite constantly to my mom because she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And so I would just do that monologue for her frequently. Yeah, so the plot of this one is the Death Eaters have gone back to the first year to kill Harry Potter. Meanwhile, in Harry Potter's first year, Sirius Black has escaped from prison. Their Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher is Remus Lupin, and Umbridge has been stationed there as a security officer because they fear that Sirius Black will come to Hogwarts to kill Harry Potter, basically. The normal stuff happens. Sirius Black is obviously not trying to kill Harry Potter. He's trying to hug and kiss him as he stays.
Remus Lupin is very suspicious, but obviously he's not the bad guy.
He is. It's so funny because he says he's a werewolf like 17 times and then everyone just forgets and doesn't listen to him. And then later they're like, oh, he turns into a werewolf right in front of them and they go, he's a gremlin!
Yeah. I remember there's a part where Snape just runs by and he's like, I'm going to show you a moon. It's going to be great.
Oh, no, yeah, he says, he's a... He has different ones. He says, this year we'll be studying astronomy and paying special attention to the cycles of the moon and their effects on a certain professor. And then he has another one where he goes, hey Lupin, wanna go look at the full moon with me? Haha, zombie. And then runs away.
That's the one that I was thinking of. That was good.
I told you, man, every single line I could do. So Draco Malfoy is kind of the Hermione Granger of this story, where he goes back in time and tries to fix everything. Yeah, what are some things that stood out to you from this one?
I absolutely love that Umbridge, for a second, kicks the shit out of the centaur. Like, she holds her own.
Yes. Firenze the centaur is in this
yes.
in this one as well.
I figured a lot of with the time travel shenanigans in this story, it would be a bit more drastic of a change, but like I said before, it's basically Prisoners of Azkaban. I think they had a Dementor in the first one, but they got the Mirror of Erised pulled in, which is fun. Mm-hmm. You get a whole lot of character drama with that.
There was only a Dementor in the first one that when it was releasing Quirrell from Azkaban. At the very end.
Hey, all of your happy memories happen to be about this one guy.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
And then they say, well, Voldemort's dead. Good luck getting off this impenetrable island.
Okay.
Which, fair point. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, there's the Dementors. There's some really good songs. Yeah, Max, why don't you pull up the song lists from all of them? Because after we get through them all, I will be asking you what's your favorite song from each of them.
Okay.
So, I hope you remember.
While we talk about this, I'll just look up some of them.
Exactly. Basically, in this one, Umbridge takes over the school from Dumbledore. Dumbledore says that he is the one who lured Sirius Black to school, whatever, it's convoluted. Anyway, he runs away and Umbridge takes over the school and she takes down the poster of Headmaster Zephron. Zac Efron. He takes down the Zac Efron poster and she puts up a Taylor Lautner poster and everyone is furious. And then later it is revealed that Peter Pettigrew is not hiding in the form of Scabbers the Rat in this adaptation. Peter Pettigrew is hiding in the form of a poster of Taylor Lautner holding a football. So fun, so silly, goofy, I love it.
So it's fantastic.
Yeah, and also Ron kills him with a red vine, which is so good.
What can't they do?
What the hell can't they do? Ron's character in these plays, always eating. That's his character. He's always
snacking.
He's always snacking. In the first one, he's snacking on different things, but in the second one, he only is always eating red vines, and he's obsessed with red vines. The third one, he doesn't eat as much, but that's because they're all holding scripts, and they can't really do much prop comedy.
Yeah. I do have a note for the third one that I said everyone holding their scripts was a little weird. But...
So that's a thing in theater. It's called a staged reading. They have some costumes, some choreography, some props, but it is not a full production. It is a staged reading of a written play. This one was a staged reading of a musical, so it had songs and it had instruments and stuff, but if you notice, like, it did not have much choreography. It had blocking, but didn't have choreography. So that's what a staged reading is. They're very common in plays that don't before a play gets picked up by a theater or wherever they're doing it, to do a full production, or if they don't need to do a full production. So the case for this was a performance done for a convention called LeakyCon, which was a Harry Potter convention that was very, very popular back in the day. I don't know if you ever knew about it while it was going on, but I did.
I think I've definitely heard about LeakyCon in passing. Yeah. And I'm also surprised from the last time I did a play in like 5th grade for The Prince and the Frog. I'm surprised I didn't remember about all of the stage plays.
Well, it was 5th grade.
I already forgot what you called it.
So it's a staged reading. That
stage reading.
If you're cast in a play in school, it's not going to be like that in school. In school, no. You're learning your lines and you have your scripts until you're off book, until you're not reading your scripts anymore and you know all your lines. That's not what this is. The intent of this is not to get off book. The intent of this is to show the project. This was never going to be picked up for a full run, because the simple reason was because Darren Criss left Star Kid, and is because he was too famous at that point. He was on Glee. They make little references to it in the songs of the third one. I don't think you would get any of them because you've never seen Glee. But they make little references to it, and they have songs about moving on and leaving, and that's why it's so emotional at the end of the third one, because it's to celebrate Darren Criss leaving Star Kid officially and moving on from the Harry Potter world, basically. Right. That is, it was never going to be a full production. The intent that there was a narrator who was reading the stage directions, and everyone was holding scripts. That is, it's interesting that it threw you off, because I come from a different point of view, so I never thought about that throwing me off. I was like, oh, obviously this is what it is.
And yeah, like I was saying before, it's just something I'd never seen. I'm just not in the theater world.
No, that's interesting.
The last time I was 5th grade. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't have experienced that doing a play in 5th grade.
No.
I did a staged reading just recently, like 2 weeks ago. They're very fun, but you have very little rehearsal times. If you would notice, like, there was clearly Darren Criss was the least rehearsed of that third one, because he was busy doing other stuff, and he was always looking at a script. But there were line stumbles that happens. The stage reading that I just recently did, we had 3 rehearsals, and that was all before we went on for a 2-night performance. And a lot of us met in those rehearsals for the first time, so it was. It's a very fun thing to do, but it is very, very quick production. You're kind of just
getting your feet under you and getting the chemistry between the characters. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's not a full production in the slightest. But given that, the third one is still very, very fun.
Okay. I have a massive note about the third one.
Okay.
Because it starts, and I'm like, man, they got a really similar actress to Luna Lovegood. Like, I'm surprised at how well they found someone. And then I just had to pause it and look it up because I was like, it just looks too uncanny. And then it turns out that they did get Luna Lovegood, or whatever her name is.
They got the actress who played Luna Lovegood to...
That blew my mind.
Yeah, be in it. Well, Leaky Con was so big. I don't think you understand. Because I know that you love Harry Potter, but were you ever very big in the Harry Potter fandom at all?
No.
Yeah.
I wasn't big into any fandom until I got, like, into my late teens.
Makes sense.
I was a very stealth nerd.
Stealth nerd, okay.
Stealth fighter nerd.
Well, that makes sense because, yeah, any Harry Potter fandom enthusiast would, like, no, Leaky Con was huge. A lot of actors would go to the Leaky Cons after the films had all finished. Yeah,
honestly,
Luna
I think
Lovegood.
I remember hearing the name Leaky Con just from like a Sarah Zed video or something like that.
That
I
sounds
think that's
right.
where I've heard from it.
Well, so the actress who played Luna Lovegood in the Harry Potter movies, she started out as a fan. She was a fan of Harry Potter. She was like a huge mega fan, and she went to a bunch of conventions, and she went to she just went to the open audition that they had for Luna Lovegood, and she got cast as it. And she was always open
That's
about
amazing.
how she was such a big fan. So they did they got her to appear in lots of things, including a Harry Potter senior year, which was very, very fun.
No, that was super cool to see her. And she doesn't have a big part to play, but just like I said, seeing her face, and I was like, man, she looks similar.
Right?
No, wait, that's her.
So the plot of the third one, well, did we wrap up the second one? I don't remember. Basically, the Death Eaters fail to kill Harry, and they realize that this was always how their their freshman year was supposed to go, and Umbridge gets taken into the woods by the centaurs. That one didn't age super great, definitely.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was even cool back then. It was just like, whoa, this is nuts.
It's the same thing that happens to her in the book and movies, which is elaborated on if you go to find out, if you research a little bit. But yeah, it's horrendous.
Yeah, not great. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. The third one.
It is,
like you said, it's a reading, but it still has a lot of production behind it. Everyone's wearing their robes, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's mainly a mix of, it's mainly Chamber of Secrets plus like a high school movie of people in their graduating year. There's there's a run for student council. There is oh my god, it's our last year. Let's go all do these fun things together. And then, oh no, we got in a fight. Oh no, we broke up. Blah blah, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I think but it's mainly Chamber of Secrets. It's so
with all the Lockhart stuff,
yes,
and all the Harry talking to snakes,
and the Ginny stuff, yeah. It also, no, that's what it is. It's mixed with the sixth one. It's mixed with the Half-Blood Prince because they're experiencing all of Voldemort's memories, and that's all from the Half-Blood Prince.
Right.
There we go. I knew it was mixed with something. They're all mixes. Voldemort's memories are so funny. He's
hey, Grandpa.
Snickers. They're so good. He demonstrates how powerful he is by shooting rainbow glitter out of his hands.
Yes.
it's just such a good time. He hates Snickers, the bar. He, very fun. Ginny is possessed during a lot of this. Harry is such an asshole, and Gilderoy Lockhart is certifiably psychotic, and I love every second of it. They're like, it's one of my favorite things is Gilderoy Lockhart's mythology in this play. In the world of a Harry Potter musical, Gilderoy Lockhart wrote The Hunger Games, and Twilight, and he is he's basically, he's the same as he is in the regular Harry Potter books. He's, beautiful and everyone loves him and he's stealing all his stories, but this time he's stolen, all the major teen literary classics.
YA.
He's stolen the YA
selling ones.
The YA section at a Barnes and Noble, basically.
Yes.
And
he's grabbed them all and just said, "These are mine now."
And he goes to school and he says, "Okay, Hermione, you're so smart. I am going to ask you to write an essay on each of your years at school, and all of the things that happened to you, and turn them into me." This happens after Hermione reads him some really dirty fanfiction.
It's insane.
It's so good.
I don't think they ever actually get into it, but every time that they describe
they're like,
it,
oh my god, this makes 50 Shades of Grey look like a fucking book for kids. He also wrote 50 Shades of Grey, I believe.
That's another thing we didn't really mention is I kind of picked up on it in the first one, but there's some just curse words, and I kind of love it. It's just, this is not for kids.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And that's something, I kind of expected this to be for kids, but it's not.
They bleep out all the curse words, not all the curse words, they bleep out all the fucks whenever they say fuck, but it's really it's funnier with the bleep to me. I think it's funnier because you obviously know what they're saying. But I always think it's super funny with the bleep. Yeah, so, Gilderoy Lockhart takes all these essays from Hermione and he shuffles them around a little bit, and then he comes later and he tells Ron that he sold all of Hermione's writings and shuffled them around so that the main villain doesn't die in the second year of Hogwarts, and he basically wrote the Harry Potter books, and he has one of the best monologues ever. It's so funny. He just starts talking about how he's gonna merchandise this shit out of Harry Potter and just like listing all these real world things, and the Universal Studios Orlando world, because it was only in Orlando back then, the Wizarding World. And
there's real life stuff that the Harry Potter franchise has milked of money.
Yeah, and basically his whole goal, his whole character purpose is to shrink himself down to the size of a mouse and become the Mouse King, the Mouse Prince or something.
Whatever that
Gilderoy,
means.
the Mouse Prince, yeah. And
we can unpack whatever the hell he is going through his head, but there's clearly something wrong. I mean, that's the case with Lockhart always, but this is another level of he's messed up.
So funny. He is absolutely unhinged, and I just love the twist that he wrote the Harry Potter books in that world, and he brings out a physical copy of the first Harry Potter book, The Sorcerer's Stone, and then they're like, and then Ron goes, "What, you mean the Philosopher's Stone? That stupid piece of shit Draco found at Pig Farms?" And he goes, "Well, I'm calling it the Sorcerer's Stone so that it's very clear that this is a book about wizards."
Because American audiences wouldn't get that a philosopher can also be a sorcerer.
Well, yeah, it's so funny. Well, the Philosopher's Stone is like a huge, fable. It's like a really old
and Nicholas
myth.
Flamel,
Nicholas Flamel
is like part of that
and
myth.
The Philosopher's Stone he's a wizard, and that's like a really, really old myth or whatever. And then they're like, nope, American audiences are stupid. They won't know what this myth is. We're gonna call it the Sorcerer's
of course,
Stone.
Growing up in America without any, or my only touchstone into, the Philosopher's Stone was Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. So I had no idea. Like, I was way too old when I figured out that the Philosopher's Stone and Nicholas Flamel is an actual legend.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, not to shit on it, but J.K. Rowling takes a lot of her... took a lot of her ideas about Harry Potter just from, like, British folklore. Like, most of it, actually. She just shoved it all together and said, this is the world. And I said, okay. And then I said,
I could talk.
And then I said, are those racial caricatures? And she said, don't think about it. And then, well,
are those goblins supposed to be some sort of religion?
Why
or
do
race?
the house elves?
Like
why did the house elves like being slaves?
Because they do. They just like
that's
it.
Oh gosh.
No, yeah. We could unpack so much stuff about the weird shit that J.K. Rowling did.
But we don't have the time. Yeah. We don't have the time. We are talking about musicals here, people. The musicals are fun. I was hoping that you would bring it up, but you haven't, so I will. Every single one of these has a reference to a Spider-Man movie.
I did not notice that.
What?
I noticed the one in the second, they talk about how Spider-Man 3 is crap.
No, that's the first one.
The Raimi one.
That's the first one.
Okay.
So, then the first one, Harry says he has to break up with Ginny because he has to protect her. It's like and then he says, it's like the Spider-Man movies. Haven't you seen that? MJ and Peter Parker can't be together because it's not safe. And then she goes, but I thought the whole point of Spider-Man 2 is that MJ and Peter Parker could be together in the end. And then he goes, yeah, but the point of Spider-Man 3 is that everything sucks and it falls to shit. And he says, I don't want my life to be like Spider-Man 3. I hated that movie.
Yeah.
And then...
Which I get.
Yeah.
It's understandable. No one wants to be like Spider-Man
Right.
3. Strutting down the street.
Oh, I love Bully Maguire, though. But...
Wasn't the best Venom storyline.
No, definitely not. But Bully Maguire,
but what were the other...
absolute gem we got out of that movie. In the second one, when Ron and Hermione are scrubbing the owlry with their toothbrushes as punishment from Umbridge, Ron makes an analogy. Hermione is super depressed because she thinks that she's just like Umbridge. And Ron is like, no, you're Spider-Man, and basically makes the analogy that she's Spider-Man, and then you're like, and he's like, you're super smart and you can get a lot done. Oh yeah, no, that's what he says. He says, I remember it now. I remembered exactly. He goes, that's like saying, she says, I'm just like Umbridge. And then he says, that's like saying Spider-Man and Venom are the same because they have the same powers in the same suit. Okay? But Venom let his bitterness and anger toward the world turn him into a villain a long time ago. But Spider-Man would never do that. And then he goes, and so she's Spider-Man. And then he goes, and that redhead, Mary Jane, she cares a lot about him. And it's because he's a redhead, obviously. He is Mary Jane. So that's great. We love 2 Spider-Man analogies. And then
yes,
in the last one, Harry Potter has he has run away from Hogwarts because he's moping and he's very sad. And because everyone hates him now, and they all have their Potter stinks badges passed out by Gilderoy Lockhart. And he's like, nobody likes me anymore. I'm not Harry Potter anymore. Basically, it's all in the narrative of the play, but it's also an allegory for what is my life past Harry Potter? What am I going to be if I'm not Harry Potter? The actual people who made this play, right? So it has that whole meta thing going on.
And And a lot of that meta storytelling went way over my head.
Obviously, because you don't know the lore. This is your first time watching it. You don't know what's going on. That's fine. That's what I'm here for. And that's what makes it such an emotional watch and so much better upon rewatch, in my opinion, for the theater girlies out there. But so he goes to Godric's Hollow to see not his parents' destroyed house, but there's a monument to him there in Godric's Hollow. And it's a monument of Darren Criss, but with his hair from the first one, so it's all big and puffy. And he doesn't have that hair anymore because he's currently playing Blaine on Glee, so his hair is all short and tight. And
he's all serious now. Yeah, he doesn't have the curls.
He's a warbler, okay? He goes, at least they respect me here. This monument will never come, like, they'll always remember me here. And then a construction worker comes in and bulldozes his statue and then replaces it with a statue of Spider-Man. And it turns out that construction worker is Dumbledore. Wearing a fake beard over his other fake beard, and as he did, and
he's got a rainbow scarf.
That's Scarfy, the scarf of sexual preference. He's not wearing it in that scene. Don't try and fool me, Max. I know everything about this.
He's definitely wearing it later, but Scarfy...
No, he's not. Dumbledore doesn't.
He gives everyone their sexuality, which was fun.
So, in the first one, they had no budget. So, Dumbledore, in the very, very beginning of the first one, Dumbledore goes, welcome to Gryffindor, Ginny. And then she goes, aren't I supposed to be sorted by the Sorting Hat? And then he says, well, the funny thing happened to the Sorting Hat. He actually got hitched with another piece of magical enchanted clothing, so he and the scarf of sexual preference won't be back until next year. And then the second one, they had a budget, so they made the Sorting Hat named Sorty, and they made the scarf of sexual preference called Scarfy. And then at the end of that second one, they is
that the one where Dumbledore's wearing them?
Yeah, that's the second one. Okay. He's wearing them. He's wearing Scarfy like the whole time in that one. And Sorty proposes at the end, and he and Scarfy get married.
That's nice.
Yeah, and then they're back for the last one. Sadly, Scarfy gets killed by the basilisk.
Oh, no.
But then Ron pulls a diamond ring out of his mouth and proposes to Hermione. Anyway, it's all good. It's so fun. Yes. Oh yeah, because Hermione's sexual preference was sorted as waiting till marriage. So Ron pulls at the end, Ron pulls a ring out of Scarfy and proposes to Hermione.
Right. And Ron was bi-curious.
Yeah, Ron was bi-curious. And Harry Potter was metrosexual, which is a word that died out like a year after that play came out.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was when they said it. But...
metrosexual was a trend.
Does that mean you want to have sex with a metro
Absolutely,
train? Just
like pansexual means you want to have sex with pants. No.
Sweet. Sorry, I interrupted you.
So, metrosexual was a term given to men, straight cis men in the late 90s and early 2000s. Basically... people who cared about how they looked. And it was, I don't know, I wasn't very cognizant of the world back then. I was 1. But it was like anyone who had gone on Queer Eye and been given a new wardrobe and been like, put, conditioner in your hair. They're metrosexual. Basically.
Right.
It's like, it's real fucked up. It's real bad. It's like, not straight, but not gay. It's like, you're straight, you like women, but you have the attitudes of a gay man. It's bad. It was a bad thing. We don't need to think about it or talk about it or bring it back. It was funny for that one joke in this one thing that left it behind.
Well, at least it's good to know.
Yeah.
The more you know.
I don't know why I know it. I know so many random things.
Because the Harry Potter musical taught you.
Yeah, but I didn't know it from that. I already knew it because I got the joke the first time I watched it in 2012. So I don't know how I got that joke. I was like, I don't know where I learned this from, but I did. Anyway, probably from Project Runway or something. I watched a lot of that as a kid. Oh yeah, so Spider-Man.
Yes.
That's where we were. The statue that replaces Harry's statue in Godric's Hollow in the third one, and Harry goes, well, at least if I'm replaced by anyone, at least I'm replaced by Spider-Man. And then not Dumbledore, quote unquote, not Dumbledore, goes, yep, Andrew Garfield, gotta love him. And then and then Harry goes, what? No, Tobey Maguire. And then Dumbledore goes, who? And he goes, Tobey Maguire, fucking Spider-Man. And he's like, oh yeah, from those old movies. And he basically imparts the lesson. It's like, you gotta move on. This new Spider-Man is gonna mean a lot to a lot of kids. This statue of Andrew Garfield is gonna mean a lot to a lot of kids. And you can't hold on to the past forever. It basically ties back into the theme of the third one.
And you know what? It's a great lesson.
It is.
Even with the specificness of Spider-Man, that's a great lesson.
They work Spider-Man naturally into all of them. What are you talking about? It's so natural. I love it. It's unforced.
Unforced, huh?
It's like it's not at all like they bulldozed a statue of Harry Potter and replaced it with a statue of Spider-Man. I love it. It's so good.
It's fantastic. But I can't think of too much else to say other than my favorite songs.
Yes.
Because I have picked them out.
Excellent. Okay, so we're going to go number 1, a Harry Potter musical. Okay. What is your favorite song?
I should preface this by saying it's fairly obvious and you'll see a trend. It's every Disney movie, every musical, I always love the villain songs.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, I liked Different as Can Be, which I'm pretty sure is the name of the ballad.
That's
with Quirrell and Voldemort.
That is, but that's what you qualify as the villain song. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I would say the villain song of that one is To Dance Again.
Yes. There's just something about a ballad between two men who clearly love each other and they're conjoined. You know,
sure.
it was just nice.
You know, there's something about that that's so common that I definitely understand.
Yes.
No, love it. It's so good.
But what was your favorite?
My favorite from this? That's so hard. Don't ask me that. No. They're all so good. I love them all. I know them all by heart. I don't know, Granger Danger, it's just so good. It just stands out so much. It was my introduction to this whole thing. You know, it led me into it. And so for that, it has to be my favorite. But I love Ginny's song. I love Ginny's song reprise, Cho's version. I love the heartfelt ones, Missing You and Not Alone. They're so good. Going back to Hogwarts is iconic. To Dance Again is amazing. I don't know what to tell you. They're all so good. I love them.
I think going back to Hogwarts is a close second. Yeah. That's a fun one. To Hogwarts is so good.
But
the second one, again, I had a hard choice between Umbridge's song or the opening with Lucius. And I think I'd have to choose
Umbridge's song Stutter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I think I'd definitely choose the opening with Lucius, mainly because that also surprised me with all of the stage directions and the costuming and how much more budget they had. I was just like, okay,
yeah,
this is fun.
Yeah.
I think that one was called Not Over Yet.
Yeah, that's not over yet. I'm going to clarify. So my favorite songs is I'm going to pick the song that I have the most fun with, not the song that I like to sing the most, because I like to sing the ballady, sad ones. I like to get into the emotions of the characters. That's not what I'm picking as my favorite ones, even though they're so fun and I love them. Ooh, okay. I think it's gonna be. No, Hermione Can't Draw is so good. Hermione Can't Draw is my favorite song, with the second verse being Lupin Can't Sing. It's so good. Gosh, it's so funny. It's the simplest song in the world, but I adore it. It's so dumb. No. The favorite one from that one's got to be Harry freaking Potter.
Yeah. That's fair.
It's iconic. It's so good. But I'll say that about all of them. Gosh, Guys Like Potter is so good too. So is Stutter. I can't. Stop it. Okay.
They're all good.
Yeah. So is No Way. Anyway.
For the third one, I had a hard choice between choosing a lot of the villain songs, because obviously I'm going to choose the villain. But Aragog's Get in My Mouth would have to be my favorite.
Get in My Mouth is so good. Stop. Ugh, I love it. Okay. My favorite song from this one is... Okay. I'm Just a Sidekick. That's Ron's song. Yeah. Ron's only song. Good. It's so good. You know, Everything Ends and When I Was, those two are my favorites to sing from this one. I sing them all the time, and I cry. I actually cry. Because I'm a little bitch baby who loves these. And it's my nostalgia factory. I love it, okay? Don't judge me. I know what I am.
A Harry Potter stan.
I am a musical theater nerd, first and foremost. Gosh, it's so good. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stick with I'm Just a Sidekick. It's so funny.
With our favorites chosen, and with that being said, should we move on to our recommendations in the consumption corner?
Yes, let's do it. I'm dying of consumption.
Let me tell you, I'm just shriveled up in the corner, dying.
Coughing
though
blood.
I've been eating pretty good.
Oh, okay, well that's good. That's good. I've been coughing up blood, so please tell me what you'd like to recommend.
I have been reading so much. Chalice of the Gods I finished, Woo! Lightning Thief I finished, Sea of Gods, and I'm on to the third. The Titan's Curse.
Yeah.
I almost forgot the name of it.
Love that.
But I want to finish the whole series, all 5, before Percy Jackson next week.
I'm so excited. Okay. So at my work, they put up a giant poster for it, like a giant corrugate that stands. It's right in front of the escalator, and every time I go up, I see their faces, and I'm so excited. And I just noticed on the poster that Annabeth has the right necklace. She has her camp necklace with her dad's ring on it, and I'm like, yes! Oh my god, I'm so excited!
They're ramping up all of the marketing, and there are some reviews have come out, and it's apparently really
95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And I don't put a lot of stock into Rotten Tomato. I try not to, at least, but this is a very good sign.
So good.
I'm very excited.
And there are interviews, apparently, I haven't seen them, but my friend told me they've already been talking about, like, season 5, like what they're gonna do if they get there. And I'm like, we have to make this happen, guys.
Yeah. They asked all of the actors which season they would prefer to make, or which one they're excited about most, and they all just said, season 5,
because,
obviously.
Okay, if they play this right, this can be the most epic show. It can be...
Yes.
It can be the Game of Thrones of kids shows, right? And they can
100%
ramp up. They have to build this world correctly, though. They have to do it. They have to keep Rick on. They have to keep Uncle Rick in the driver's seat at all times. And they can build up to a 5th and final season where there is a season-long battle of New York, a siege. Of just
defending Manhattan.
It would be, oh my gosh, Percy
Can you
fighting
imagine
Hyperion?
The Minotaur fight? Yeah. Well, on the bridge, and he's making the hurricane. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. I want to see it.
And just like all of the we have to talk about this more later. But
we're going to talk Percy Jackson next week or the week after, so there's plenty to talk about.
But
what have you been consuming this week?
Okay. I I've still been reading this book.
You're still on it.
I haven't given up. You know why? Because I kept I got really, really bored one night, and I just decided to read it. And I got kind of drawn in. I'm not going to say I like it because I don't, because the writing is terrible still. It's real bad. I hate it.
But has it become like a hate read?
Yeah, kind of. Like the story. I am like, I gotta know what happens next. Not that it's great. I can predict what's gonna happen, but I'm not at that place. I'm like, I just want to know. I just want to keep reading it. It's kind of like eating Dominoes. You're like, I know that I'm gonna have a stomachache later, but it's delicious, you know?
Right now, it's tasting fantastic.
It's tasting good, and I'm just like, I like the dragons. I finally met the dragons, and I like them.
Okay.
That's
cool.
I like that they're constantly fighting. Like, there's like, so they have made an announcement that this book, Fourth Wing, is going to be made into a TV show. And okay. I think if they do it right, they can make this TV show very, very good, because the concepts are very interesting and they're explored in interesting ways in the book. And I hope that whoever writes the show understands that they don't have to exposit every goddamn line. They don't have to remind the reader every 5 seconds who someone is, or what lore this came from, or exactly, and like just exposition dump and vomit dialogue at me. Stop it, okay? I hope whoever writes the show will know not to do that, because they have a career.
It's just execution-wise, they need to get it right.
This story is interesting, and it has an interesting world that it has created, and an interesting magic system, you know, that I want to know more about. So right. I'm reading that. I'm planning to, you know, sacrifice sleep and just read for a few more hours tonight.
Yeah, I feel that.
But other than that, I haven't been watching much. I finished my Brooklyn Nine-Nine rewatch right when, unfortunately, the man who plays Captain Holt,
Andre
Bauer, he tragically died this last week. And I finished it like the day after he died, and I was like, this is so sad.
Yeah, that's just heartbreaking. Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, on a lighter note, for the holiday season, I got the first omnibus for Sandman.
Oh.
And the omnibus for comics is just like a big old collection. It's like this 20-pound book. But it's not leather bound, but it's made to look like it's kind of leather bound, and it's really cool. I love it. I'm rereading Sandman just because of it.
That's cool.
I mean, along with that, I've been jumping between issues of, there's a really cool horror comic called Nice House on the Lake that I've been enjoying a lot. I also, Danger Street from Tom King, I've been reading a bunch of that because that finally wrapped up. Tom King, if you haven't heard about him, he is a incredible comic book writer. Most of the things that he touches is usually phenomenal. Things like Vision, Mr. Miracle, Strange Adventures, Human Target. He wrote a Batman story called The War of Jokes and Riddles, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's phenomenal. He's also writing a Wonder Woman story, which I think it'll be 12 issues. They're on number 7 right now. Once that wraps up, I cannot wait to just binge all that. But yeah, Tom King and Sandman. Been reading a bunch of those comics. Absolutely love it.
Nice.
Other than that, I got a movie to shout out because let me tell you, Sasha, Godzilla -1 is a cinematic triumph. I won't talk about it too much because I love podcasting so much. I started up another podcast called A Girlfriend's Glimpse, and my second episode was about Godzilla -1, so you can go listen to all my thoughts there. But yeah, if you're not willing to go to the theaters, then definitely one of these days just sit down on your couch and watch Godzilla -1. It takes some reading because it's a Japanese movie, but it is phenomenal.
Sick.
Could not give more higher praise to this movie. I never cared about Godzilla before this movie. And it's also a very, not necessarily scary movie, but it shows it shows Godzilla in a horror light, which is just, cannot get enough of it.
That's fun.
But yeah, other than that, if you got any more recommendations?
I do not.
Well, with that being said, this has been a Troy Bolton podcast.
A Zephron podcast. Headmaster Zephron podcast.